Her dress ripped at a $48 million wedding, and it used to belong to Leonardo DiCaprio's ex. This moment, pure chaos. We're breaking down the viral moment where Vittoria Ceretti, Leo's girlfriend, wore Gisele Bündchen's 2003 Met Gala gown, and it ripped in front of hundreds of billionaires. Why did this happen? Why that dress? And what did Leonardo's face say? If your boyfriend's ex wore a dress 20 years ago, and you accidentally ripped it at a billionaire's wedding, what would you do? Drop your most unhinged reaction in the comments.
What are the odds that your boyfriend's ex wore the same dress 20 years ago and it rips right off you in front of the most powerful people on earth? That's the exact fashion disaster that struck Vittoria Ceretti, Leonardo DiCaprio's girlfriend, at Jeff Bezos' ultra-lavish Venice wedding. Vittoria arrived in a stunning metallic gown, a bold, glimmering choice that fashionistas immediately recognized. It was the same dress Gisele Bündchen wore to the 2003 Met Gala. Yes, Gisele, Leonardo's ex of 5 years. And just when you think the dress couldn't carry more baggage, it ripped in front of A-listers, cameras, and what felt like the entire internet watching in slow motion. The universe didn't just serve irony that day, it served it in high-definition sequins. If you've ever tried to keep your face neutral in public while freaking out inside, you now share something with Leonardo DiCaprio. As Vittoria's dress tore on the marble steps, cameras caught Leo mid-step, mid-glance, mid-oh no. His face, frozen between concern, confusion, and that universal panic we all get when someone else's clothes fall apart in public. But the internet did what it does best. It screenshot, it captioned, and it memed. One user wrote, "Leo just saw his past and present collide in 4K. Another joked, "That's the face of a man who just remembered 2003. One blink, one wardrobe fail, one viral moment." Now, let's talk about the dress itself. Not just any gown. This was the gown. The metallic, shimmering Dior by John Galliano number worn by Gisele Bündchen, Leonardo's most iconic ex, at one of the most memorable Met Galas ever. And here's Vittoria Ceretti, Leo's current girlfriend, unknowingly, or maybe knowingly, bringing that dress back from fashion history, only for it to split open at a billionaire's wedding. If that's not fashion karma with a sense of humor, I don't know what is. This wasn't just a wardrobe choice. It was a timeline collision. Gisele and Leo dated from 2000 to 2005. She was his red carpet ride or die. Vittoria, the new era, the Gen Z runway queen. And now, they've shared a dress and a headline. It's not just fashion, it's full circle chaos. Let's zoom out for a second. Vittoria's fashion fail didn't happen on just any red carpet. It happened at the most obnoxiously extravagant wedding of the year. Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez hosted a 3-day celebration in Venice, complete with yacht parties, a pajama-themed after-party, and a guest list that looked like it was curated by an algorithm trying to recreate the Met Gala, if the Met Gala had zero self-awareness. Locals weren't thrilled. The entire city's water taxis were backed up, certain bridges were blocked off, and daily life in Venice basically canceled for the weekend. Bezos didn't just throw a wedding, he threw Venice into chaos. You'd think a man worth $250 billion would hire the best of the best for every detail, but apparently not for invitations. The couple's wedding invite leaked online, and it looked more like something slapped together on a free Canva template than a luxury event notice. Seriously, commenters called it Microsoft Paint meets clip art chic. For a wedding that cost over $10 million, it screamed 2008 Facebook birthday party. Even design accounts on TikTok started rating it like it was a failed assignment on Project Runway. Takeaway? Money can buy the venue, the dress, the yacht, but not good fonts. And speaking of questionable taste, let's talk about Lauren Sanchez's wedding dress. Despite access to the world's top designers, Lauren chose a custom Dolce & Gabbana gown that many described as, well, a
cross between Barbie's spacewalk outfit and a futuristic bedsheet. If you're wondering who showed up to watch Vittoria's dress unravel and sip $1,000 champagne, the guest list was stacked, and not in a good way. Oprah, Kim Kardashian, Orlando Bloom, Kris Jenner, Tom Brady, Ivanka Trump, Bill Gates. The vibe? Less intimate love celebration, more Illuminati group photo. Even Sydney Sweeney showed up, confusing fans who thought she was still girl-bossing in a rom-com. The reaction online? Brutal. People weren't impressed. They were disturbed. Congrats to Jeff Bezos for hosting the most disconnected party in human history, one viral tweet said, because nothing says love like watching the ultra-rich party while the world burns. Venice wasn't just inconvenienced, it was furious. Locals flooded the canals with protest signs, shouting, "No space for Bezos." At one point, someone tossed a Jeff Bezos dummy into the water, like a rejected puppet from The Boys. Residents couldn't reach their homes, tourist traffic froze, shops near the venue had to shut down, and for a city already drowning in over-tourism and rising sea levels, this felt like the final insult. The couple tried to smooth things over by saying most vendors were local and tossing a donation into Venice's cultural fund, but nobody bought it. To them, it was a wedding. To Venice, it was a hostile takeover. Here's where things get deeper, because this wasn't just a wedding, it was a performance. Multiple media analysts called it a $48 million power ritual. Jeff Bezos didn't need to prove he was rich. He wanted to prove he was untouchable. And what better way than throwing a tone-deaf spectacle in one of the world's most historic cities? This was less about I do and more about legacy, dominance, and flexing influence in front of the world. And with the likes of Leo, Oprah, and Gates watching, mission accomplished. This wasn't a celebration, it was a signal. Before we go deeper into the wild money behind this wedding and the even wilder celebrity dynamics, tell me in the comments, was Vittoria's dress fail fashion fate, or was someone seriously trolling the timeline with that Gisele rewear? And if you love deep dives like this, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next celebrity spiral we uncover. Let's talk numbers, because the dollar signs here aren't just big, they're absurd. The wedding reportedly cost over $10 million, and Bezos allegedly dropped $50,000 per guest. That's more than most people make in a year just to attend. Multiply that by 200 guests? Yeah, the math is mathing, and that's not including the fleet of yachts, the private jets, the custom Dolce gowns, and the citywide shutdown. But here's the kicker. When your net worth is $250 billion, that's like someone making $500 throwing a 126th wedding. Perspective. It wasn't a splurge, it was a Tuesday. Now let's talk about all those celebrities. Were they invited or incentivized? Some say A-listers were paid to attend, others believe the exposure was the payment itself. When you're Jeff Bezos and you own Amazon, along with MGM, Orion Pictures, United Artists, and a chunk of the music industry, showing up might not be optional. One viral comment put it perfectly. If he can buy Venice, paying Kim K is pocket change. And it's true. When you're seated next to Amazon's empire, playing nice might just be part of the unspoken contract. In Hollywood, influence is the real currency. Let's be real. Was this wedding even meant to be taken seriously? The moment Vittoria's dress ripped, Leonardo's face trended. Lauren's gown got roasted. TikTok flooded with edits. And suddenly, what should have been a quiet I do turned into the most memeable moment of the year. It almost felt orchestrated, like the whole thing was designed to be outrageous, spark backlash, and keep Bezos and Sanchez at the center of conversation. Whether accidental or by design, one thing is clear. Even negative press fuels the brand when you're playing a billionaire's PR game. What's wild is that Vittoria Ceretti, who wasn't even a headline guest, stole the entire show. She didn't give a speech, perform, or arrive in a swan boat, but one ripped dress and one awkward moment beside Leo, suddenly she was all anyone could talk about. Forget the Kardashians, forget Oprah. All eyes were on Vittoria, and that's the irony. In a room full of billionaires, all it took was a wardrobe malfunction to eclipse the entire event. Sometimes the spotlight doesn't go to who planned for it. It rips its own path. And if this all feels familiar, it's because fashion loves a full circle. That gown, originally worn by Gisele Bündchen at the 2003 Met Gala, during the golden era of red carpets and runway royalty. Now, 21 years later, it re-emerges on her ex's current girlfriend, just to unravel in front of the richest man alive. It's almost poetic. The past literally split open on the present, and it wasn't a subtle crack. It was a glittering explosion of timelines colliding. Fashion remembers, and sometimes fights back. The internet did not hold back. TikTok users crowned the incident the Gisele curse. Twitter renamed the event Met Gala Glitch Edition. One viral comment read, "Leo's face aged 10 years in one frame, and it wasn't even the lighting." Another joked, "This wasn't a wedding, it was a crossover episode between Succession and Zoolander." People even debated whether the wardrobe rip was symbolic. Was Gisele's legacy too powerful to be reworn? Either way, the memes wrote themselves, and they won't die anytime soon. To contain the backlash, Bezos' team released a statement saying the wedding supported local Venetian vendors and donated to cultural preservation. But critics saw through it instantly. A few $1 million in charity doesn't excuse blocking off an entire historic city for a corporate-level ego party. Even fashion insiders said the event felt like it was trying to be a statement, but ended up being tone-deaf performance art. You can't throw money at criticism and expect it to disappear, especially not in designer pajamas. In the end, what will people remember? Not the yachts, not the pajamas, not even Lauren's gravity-defying dress. They'll remember Leonardo DiCaprio, frozen in panic, and Vittoria Ceretti in a torn legacy gown, standing in the middle of Venice like it was a movie set. Because this wasn't just a fashion fail, it was a pop culture glitch. One ripped seam unraveled a decade of history, rewrote the headlines, and launched 1,000 edits. And that photo, it's immortal. Like the dress, only more durable. So was it fate? A wardrobe malfunction with symbolic undertones? Or just a very expensive oops? Whatever you believe, one thing's for sure. This wedding wasn't about love. It was about legacy, power, ego, and one dress that couldn't carry all of it. Tap subscribe if you live for these moments where celebrity chaos accidentally reveals everything. And comment below, do you think it was just bad luck? Or was Gisele's ghost serving couture karma?